Hi Aries, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Hi Aries, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aries, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. For your key to the week this week, you have the Death card, right? Completions, culminations and endings are going to be a part of this week, and I kind of feel this is really fitting for you guys, especially in the sense that this week the sun is by the time we get to the end of this week, the sun will begin its true final descent through the sign of Pisces, which is technically your 12th house, which is the house of death. Yes, it's the 8th house, but the 12th house is actually a house of death in a sense as well, because it represents the past and it also represents true culminations and completions. The fact that you have the Death card this week, I would say this is the week for you to really lay to rest, release or let go of anything that truly does not serve you, whether this is in the mind, the body or the spirit. The other thing as well, it is the Death card, so this may be a week where we are, or should I say you are Aries, Sun, Moon or Ascendant people, where this may feature for you or show up in some regard. Remember, it is the Death card. I'm waiting to see what obviously other cards come up, because you can't really see it that way on its own, but there is a message behind this that says there is something coming to an end this week. With that said, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. For your actions and options, you've got the Five of Cups. Shit. Okay, all right, so I have to call it how I see it, right? If you've been with me long enough, you know I read as I find. I'm not one of these fluffy readers. If you need that kind of thing, you really are in the wrong place. I try to keep it jovial. I try to keep it happy. I try to keep it as positive as I best can, and I will always try to bring a positive outlook and spin on whatever's coming up. But I am not going to sugarcoat stuff, and I'm not going to ignore messages that are hard when they come up. That is how I was taught to read from many moons ago, and you know, the women that I studied under, three of which were known as Queens of Tarot in their respective fields and places of the world, the women that I studied under were very adamant that that's the way that it should be done, and I'm so grateful to them for making me do the hard work when it needs to be done. The Five of Cups coupled with the Death card is one of the signatures of death, but it gets slightly interesting in that this usually suggests a death that's already happened. It's not one that's coming up. This could literally be you mourning the death of somebody, so it could be that maybe the death has taken place previously and now it really starts to settle in, right? You know, that sort of delayed onset kind of energy. It could be as well for some of you, maybe there is an emotional situation that arises, or an emotional state that arises through something that has come to an end. Remember, your actions and options is about what you do, and that Five of Cups rather is about loss. It's about mourning, and because you've got the Death card here, I really feel like it's like a realization that something has truly come to an end. So if you find you're feeling that sort of real melancholy energy this week, it wouldn't be a surprise to me. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Three of Pentacles. So you've got this coupled with the Death card, right? For those of you that are students, for those of you that are in the academic world, one thing that I will say to you is, for some of you, this might be the decision to take your academic studies in a completely different direction. For some of you, this could literally altogether be deciding, you know what, I'm actually done with school. So maybe you decided to study something, maybe you decided to go back to school, maybe you decided to go on to college or to university, whichever it might be. And this week you could be saying to yourself, actually, you know what? It doesn't really work for me anymore. It could also be as well, for a select few of you, maybe something that you had found that you wanted to study, that you'd wanted to put time, effort and energy into, is no longer available. It's no longer a viable option. It might be that the place that you were going to study at has decided to close. Maybe they've taken the subject that you wanted to study off the curriculum. Some path or some avenue of your academia is closed this week, and it's only going to open up a different opportunity. That is, ultimately the way that death and transformation and rebirth work, right? For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could be literally some form of training and or, especially if you're going to go on to a management program, maybe you were going to get qualified in something new. This almost suggests that that avenue or that path is now closed to you. It may also be as well, because it is the Three of Pentacles, some idea that you'd previously put forward that maybe was being taken up, maybe was being acted on, is now being laid to rest or is now being retired in some way. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, people that work for themselves, this could literally be you retiring a service, discontinuing a product. It's like something that you did or something that your business is known for is now evolving, and you're saying, okay, you know what, it's time to move away from that. I'm not going to put time, effort and energy into that thing, that product, that service anymore. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, it may be somebody that you worked with, somebody that you studied with. You might get some news that somebody has passed on. It's possible. Another way that this could show up for you, though, is maybe in a way that you had decided to use your skills. You now see that, that's kind of frivolous. So it's kind of like across the board, whether you're working, whether you're studying, whether you're retired, whatever. It's like something this week you realize it's obsolete. And there's a moment where it's like, okay, you know what, it's just not viable anymore. I'm not going to bother with it. For your love and relations, you have the Knight of Wands. So you got this in the love and relations. Love is passionate, sexual. You've got this with the Five of Cups, which almost suggests to me that whether you're single or partnered is irrelevant this week. It does look like you're going to use sex, sensuality, that way of connecting with people as a form of escapism. It has its place, right? The Death card is Scorpio ruled, so it's also about the taboo. And I can see this, right, with a week that looks so heavy with so many endings and completions. Your partner, your loved one, the person that you are closest to, you want and need to be closer to them for that reason, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if you're using that method as a form of escapism this week. For those of you that are single, all well and good. Just if you're going to play that way, make sure you look after yourself, all right? And obviously whatever partner you come into contact with, for whether it's 30 minutes or 3 days, all right, just make sure you look after yourself and the chosen person. The other thing is as well, for some of you, this could be travel plans that are, especially for those of you that are partnered or married, this could be travel plans that are halted or just don't go ahead. Usually there's some sort of get out clause, but I kind of feel like whatever travel doesn't go ahead this week, it just stops. It's just not going forward. For your, excuse me, money and materials, you've got the Temperance card. Okay, so there is a little bit of a saving grace here. Your money, your finances are definitely starting to improve. However, it does look like somebody is going to call you on a bad habit this week. So this could be maybe you're having a conversation with someone about money, about finances, and they say, well, you know what, you waste money on, you can't really waste money on food. Well, you can, but you know what I mean. But maybe they call you out on your spending habits or spending patterns or behaviors. Very, very possible with this combination. The other thing is as well, for some of you, especially those of you that are thinking about changing a course of study or one is closed off to you, you might then decide to spend money on something that is really practical, that will be able to be put to use as soon as you have the piece of paper or the qualification. For some of you as well, it looks like you might be spending money on your health. That can take many forms, so it'll be interesting to see how that shows up. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, I've talked about that. This could be a week where you're checking in with a healthcare professional. And then when it comes to your home and environment, the Temperance card can suggest drama, right? It can really see us having to maybe even being pulled into stuff that doesn't necessarily involve us. And with this combination of cards as a whole, I mean, there is progression here, right? The Death card is number 13. The Temperance card is number 14. So there is progression. And this kind of does feel for me like whatever it is, whatever the death is, whether it's a person or whatever, it's something that's already passed, but you're now dealing with the fallout or the aftermath of. It's going to be an interesting week for you guys. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.